In our findings, we identified sort of some key distinguishing features of the more efficient public schools. The case studies involved 25 Maine public PK-12 schools of various configurations. We included 16 more efficient schools and 9 comparison schools, representing a variety of the grade level configurations, enrollment sizes, geographic locations, and levels of student poverty. Each school was visited for 2 days by a team of 2 researchers. And in conclusion, the team of total 6 researchers conducted 1,676 classroom observations and 371 qualitative interviews. Further description of the case study methods can also be found in the report. Findings of the qualitative case studies indicated that more efficient schools exhibited distinctively pervasive characteristics of demonstrating practices and philosophies that reflected greater equity, efficiency, and intellectual work in a student-focused culture. So I'll talk a little bit about each of these components as we defined them. Student-focused in this research can be defined in that we saw that schools, more efficient schools, centered around children, from administrative duties to custodial practices. The importance of students was not just in their well-being or happiness, although this was important, but seeing children as intellectuals who were working to build a better world. More efficient schools were more likely to have common curricular practices and common curricular goals, as well as academic goals that went consistently across classrooms. Professionals collaborated regularly in ways that were directly connected to student learning, and the school day in most of these case study schools was substantially more focused on intellectual learning and instructional time. It should be noted that this meant that many activities were approached as intellectual. For example, they didn't have less recess or less art, but instead they approached these as important critical experiences that were used to deliberately develop physical and cognitive skills. We then also saw that intellectual work was a key piece of the pervasive culture of more efficient schools. Utilizing Fred Newman's concept and terminology of intellectual work, we saw that more efficient schools involved 3 necessary stages of learning. Understanding, so each task or intellectual experience incorporated a sense of understanding, of transformation, and of sharing. There was core skills and knowledge, constant inquiry, innovative solutioning, as well as clear communication and invigorating ideas that were shared. Intellectual work in more efficient schools was seen as students engaging in intellectual work that involved developing practices of mind regarding academic knowledge and skills, as well as social and behavioral learning. It also included adults, and we purposefully didn't write this as educators because it really was adults across various professions within the school, but that adults engaged in collaborative and independent intellectual work to develop and sustain practices of mind that improved organizational knowledge and student performance. We heard from participants in the study that intellectual work was described as sustaining a concise school-wide focus, which often incorporated literacy. One administrator said, "We're not going out and buying something, we are building it from within." And students also explicitly discussed and clearly demonstrated the expectations of their own struggles and their own successes. In addition, we saw equity as a core component that distinguished more efficient schools. Leaders and teachers believed that they had a moral obligation to focus on the intellectual development of students as a means to a better world. Equity was defined in this way as high standards and high expectations for all members of the school community, and literacy was seen not as a mundane set of skills, but a tool to fight social, educational, and political inequity. One teacher said, "I really became a teacher for social justice reasons. In our society, every single kid deserves to be able to do the things in the Common Core." We also saw efficiency, not necessarily identified as spending less money, but that human and financial resources were used efficiently to maximize opportunities for students and staff. So efficiency was seen through use of time during the school day, as well as a direct interaction with students. We found that teachers in more efficient schools more frequently engaged in direct instruction or learning interactions with students, including individual, group, and whole class time. One analysis of some of our findings also suggested that more efficient schools students in more efficient schools could gain more than 6 months of time over their K-12 experience due to the efficiency of the use of time.